Hello again, Soulsketeers. I'm here, and this is I Played a Thing, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. We are rocking the Bone King outfit again today. Reason being, we have to head back to Shulva, which is a dead kingdom, and we are also gonna go ahead and take a crack at that first co-op dungeon, which is the Cave of the Dead. I was thinking about it, and the boss of the Cave of the Dead is a real bitch if you don't have competent human assistance, but the dungeon itself is really not that bad compared to the other two, so we can at least take a crack at the dungeon itself, and if we can't get through the bosses, no big deal, at least you'll get a chance to see them. But we're starting out right here with Dinah and Tillo because we got a big old pile of small, smooth, and silkies, so we might as well see if we can get anything good for those. The small ones don't tend to result in anything too exciting, but you never know. So far, just infusion stones and terrible consumables. Always with the infusion souls around here. Or, infusion stones, rather. I don't need that many of those. I guess one more Titanite shard, at least something we don't have to buy later. Oh, Dine? We're already off to a great start with my English here. A Divine Blessing is pretty good for a small, smooth, and silky stone. I'll take that. Alright then, we have one more thing that we gotta do before... Well, actually two more things we gotta do before we head on back into Shulva. The first of which is to trade in those two boss souls we picked up last time. And Strayed has no idea what to do with either one of them. They are both for Ornifex. So let me cut out for a moment while I head on down to Orny's little hidey hole, and I will rejoin you there. Hello again, Orns. Got some more shinies for you. And for each of these we only have one option, and they're about what you would expect, but we will look at them all the same. First thing we can do is use Yorg's Spear to make the... I got that backwards. We can use Sin's Soul to make Yorg's Spear. Really definitely having a problem with my language here. This seems to be a primarily dex weapon in terms of scaling, but it has a pretty stiff strength requirement as well. After his defeat of the Sunken King, Sir Yorg pierced Sin, the slumbering dragon, with this spear to claim its blood. But Sin immediately awoke, spewing a poisonous fog that blanketed the city in death, and Sir Yorg disappeared into the eternal Sanctum. I'm guessing that was his corpse that we found the ring on, so that's probably the final fate of Sir Yorg. And otherwise, this is mostly stuff we've heard before, although it is interesting that the Sunken King was also slain by Yorg. That we did not know before. Anyway, this is a pretty long spear, if I recall correctly, with a slightly weird moveset, but the more notable thing about it is that equipping it raises all of your elemental defenses, and it raises your poison defense by a lot. So, if you want a weapon that also has some nice defensive bonuses, this is certainly a viable option. And over here we have the Wrathful Axe, which is an axe by name, but if you check the upper right, it is a halberd by classification, and this is the weapon that Ilana, the Squalid Queen, was using. When the abyss dissipated, the things that called it home were fragmented and scattered across the realm. Eventually, these pieces regained form in ways that hinted at humanity's true nature. Well, this item description just makes it sound like Ilana was just some creature of the abyss. But, as I mentioned last time, she is specifically a Splinter of Manus, and we'll be meeting more of those. It's going to be a pretty important thing, but we'll see more about that in the upcoming DLC. Also, my goodness, I just noticed the huge-ass faith requirement on this. That's kind of weird. Alright then. Now that we've got that squared away, there is one more shopping trip I would like to make with my current stack of souls. And that is that, I don't think I already bought them. I think Agdane, back at the crypt, has a pretty big stack of Elizabeth mushrooms, and that's going to cost me quite a bit, but I think I should like to purchase those while I can. Yeah, I know the rule. Alright then, we have fought our way past the Lady of Witches and the Imperious Knight one more time, and here we are again at old Grave Warden Agdane.
What do you...
I never did buy that Ring of Thorns +1. Why not? We'll get it just for the collection value. Yeah, we got 13 shrooms. How many can I afford? All of them. Perfect. That's a big chunk out of my funds, and that'll leave me with not quite enough for a level, but hey, we just got 13 Elizabeth mushrooms. That's pretty damn good. Very rare item, after all. Later, Agdane. Alright then, we've got everything cleared out here, so no real need to warp. We can just hustle on back to the bonfire, and then we'll be all ready to make a fresh incursion into Shulva, and see what we didn't see before of the level. And we'll take a crack at that Cave of the Dead. Don't know how that'll go, but, well, no major harm if we don't make it. I do have some decent souls here, so I'm going to trade that Ring of Steel Protection out for a Life Protector. Let's see, what would be the best way to get there from here? I'm thinking if we use the Tower of Prayer bonfire, we should be able to reach it pretty easily without having to plow back through a bunch of Sanctum soldiers. This is the bonfire up on top of the, whatchamacallit, the tower that we brought up all these columns to find our way over to. And yeah, this is actually looking really good. If I drop down here, then I can head toward the Sanctum. And the inside of the Sanctum, not far in, we'll have our pathway. And yeah, if I'm careful about it, I should... Oh, hi! Forgot about that guy. Thank you. And yeah, if I drop down right here and make sure I don't miss the mark, then it should be possible to just head right on down the stairs and into the Sanctum. Oh, a little more unwanted attention than I quite anticipated. Forgot there was another Sanctum soldier right back there. And no big deal. 2 good heart smashes, and that's all she wrote for those guys. Now, when we approached the first Sanctum entrance before, Sin showed up and blew those 2 Sanctum soldiers with the lances right off the bridge with his fire breath. Of course, now Sin is dead, so he's not going to be doing that for us again. But that's okay. We can handle a couple of lats, guys, I'm sure. That is, if I don't get careless about the incredible poise that all Sanctum soldiers do have. I'll go ahead and chug. Alright, and I do believe just inside this entrance on the left, we're going to have that door that we previously did not have the key for, but now we do. Perfect. I love it when I actually remember where things are. It's such a rare occurrence. Oh, hello, Priestess. Oh, hello, other priestess. And clearly I don't remember where everything is. Oh, they have scraps of life? I did not remember that. Well, they still do not want to drop their headpiece. But such is life. Lots of goods here, no traps if I recall correctly. Oh yeah, like 3 out of 4 of these. Or is it 4 out of 5? Anyway, I think all but one of these chests will have dried roots in it, which is just strange. Well, I suppose it's not necessarily strange, they just have a storage here. It's where they keep all their, I don't know, their dry goods. Okay, the lightning clutch ring, that's the one chest that is not going to be all rooty, I think. Oh, okay, this one also had some non-root items, those being bonfire ascetics. As for that ring we just collected... Ring depicting a hand grasping a stone. Increases lightning attack, but reduces physical defense. The origin of this ring is unknown, but its design suggests one of the darker deities. Effective use of this ring requires skill on the part of its wearer. So if you chuck a lot of lightning miracles around, you're probably a faith specialist, and probably pretty squishy anyway, so the reduced physical defense wouldn't be too bad, and you get a little more punch behind your lightning. I'm not sure if that also applies to lightning-infused weapons, but I can't see any reason why it wouldn't. That seems to be the kind of logic this game usually uses. Shake that ass. Quite something ahead. I look forward. I hear skittering. Skittering suggests insects. And we'll check our corners. Ah, hello. Alright, anything else around here? Dark spirit ahead. And pray what is over that way? I think that might be the way to the Cave of the Dead, because it looks like it's going into a mountain there. So let's check this direction first. Ah, a Sanctum shield. Don't believe we've seen one of those before. Oh, gotta go toward the bottom for shields. Blossom Kai. There we go. A shield with a curious design. One of the treasures of the Sunken King. A mixture of mystical tree branch and sacred chime iron allows this shield to serve as a catalyst for miracles and sorceries. Most of the miracles and sorceries created in the Sanctum City were lost, but the quality of their armor and shields suggests highly advanced craftsmanship. To say nothing of the highly movable architecture around here. Anyway, that's interesting. This shield can be used to cast both miracles and sorceries, so I assume it can also be used to cast any hex. The stability is not so good, though. Still, I suppose certain sort of character arrangements could make use out of that. Hurrah for left and right. Does that mean there are things to be found in both directions? Well, certainly nothing on this side. How about the other side? Yeah, that looks pretty pointless. Light! Bonfire, help me! Well, I don't think there is any point whatsoever to lighting the watchfires here, but it's been a while since we did a good old-fashioned sconce igniting, so I'm going to indulge my dark tendencies here and be done with it. There we go. At least now we have a nice lighthouse sort of thing to look at from the bonfire, I guess, if we are ever struck by the urge. And now, the bridge. Dark Spirit ahead, this is correct. Rock Shield Balder. Does that make him a Balder Knight? Sadly, he does not have a Baller Swag Sword. He did, however, just catch me with a Lloyd's Talisman, so I won't be able to heal for a while. Oop, got the back of me. That is the stone shield he is... God damn it, enough with the talismans. That is the stone shield he's using, which I think has some of the better stability for a smaller shield. Ain't gonna do him no good, though. Might be a baller, but he wishes he was a little bit taller. Always with the rim jobs. And we got us a bonfire here, which I reckon is handy if you want to make repeated attempts on the Cave of the Dead. I don't think we're terribly likely to do that, but you never know. If we bonk this, we're going to get an elevator. And I believe we can walk off this elevator in order to get a hidden treasure, but I don't remember where the actual destination is. Well, we'll find out. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to start with. I want to ride this thing down and see where it goes, because I truly do not remember. But as we descend, you'll be able to see where you can step off during the trip in order to recover a nice hidden thing. So where actually is this? I truly don't know where I am. Hang on a moment. Oh, okay, this is on the way down to the main Sanctum entrance, where those Lance soldiers are. Okay. Just another shortcut. Not a terribly important one, but, well, it's here if you want it. Let's see, which direction is the step off? This direction. And we've got here some torches. And we've got here, indeed it is a hex. Dark Greatsword. This is just like Soul Greatsword in that it is a fairly short range spell that just swings like an energy sword in front of you. It's dark damage instead of magic damage. It does still swing through walls. I think it's a little weaker than Soul Greatsword, but it shoots a projectile, so that's the trade-off, I guess. Hex adapted from an ancient sorcery. That being Soul Greatsword, one assumes. By its nature, dark is normally tranquil, but this hex releases a focused blade of dark in an uncharacteristic flash of brilliance. Instead of making a loop around, I'll just loop back, or warp back to that bonfire. And then we'll be just about ready to make our way into the Cave of the Dead. Well, there isn't actually a boss ahead. There will eventually be a trio ahead. Friend required ahead. It is a very good idea to have one. Not seeing a lot of summon signs around here except for the 2 default NPC summons though, so that is a little bit of a bummer. Our options for NPC assistance here are Rapacious Andre, who is a dude in the Lanafear merchant outfit. He's got a shotel, but is most notable for using lots of consumable items, which is fairly rare for an NPC. And over here we've got Ruined Offlis, who you may recall from an optional part of the Forest of Fallen Giants. He likes to cast light. Let me hang out in here for just a moment to make sure that no summon signs appear for us to make use of. Because the NPCs certainly do help, but having actual human assistance is much more helpful. And by the way, you see all these sort of statue-y things here. That's the indicator that the summon signs you place outside the DLC area will appear in here. That was more relevant pre-Scholar when you could do the co-op dungeons with someone who hadn't actually bought the DLC. But of course in Scholar of the First Sin, the DLC is integrated right into the game, so that's not really even a factor anymore. I do not see any people putting down their summon signs, which is actually a little bit surprising because this is the evening in the Pacific time zone where I am, and the most likely time for people to be playing the game. But then again, the co-op dungeons are not a terrifically popular part of Dark Souls 2, so no great shock there, I suppose. I'll have to go this alone with a little AI assistance. Andre, I choose you. Offlis, I also choose you. Because, I mean, it's a co-op dungeon. I'm really not worried about respecting the one assist boss rule for this part. And just like before, Offlis is pretty much always going to cast light when it's not active. Alright, point of no return passed. Let's do it. There's a sconce there, but I'm not going to bother. Regret very likely ahead. But welcome to Cave of the Dead, which is mostly going to be Sanctum soldiers. That's why this particular dungeon is really not all that bad. The fucking moment I finish saying that, I get splattered. Yeah. As I was starting to say there, the actual dungeon is usually not that bad because it really is nothing but Sanctum soldiers for the most part. There's some turtles as well, but that's really about all you're gonna find here. Put on our other ring. Now, Sanctum soldiers, as I just demonstrated, do hit a good deal harder than your average disposable enemy mook type. But again, they are low-tier enemies, so they're manageable. We'll wait a moment for messages to appear just to make sure no one wants to come in and help. Would really, really be nice to have some human assistance here. Even Andre and Offlis can usually handle the Sanctum soldiers with a more or less respectable showing, but the bosses are kind of a different story. Come on, messages and summon signs. Go ahead and spawn in, would you? Oh, and we've got a real friend. Hi, Mork. Alright, we got a trio. This is about as good a chance as we're ever gonna have, so let's take it. Come on, you fuckers. And you will see there are a lot of red statues here. As I believe I discussed previously, the red statues, they spit projectiles of petrification rather than poison. But the petrification buildup is pretty slow and nothing that you need to be too overly concerned about. Naturally, you don't want to take as many to the face as possible, but you'll be fine, as long as you don't make a habit of it. Alright, I think we're good up here. Let's go ahead and descend and make with the killing once again. Once again, we've got Sanctum soldiers aplenty. And I just done got myself poisoned because one of them had a poison aura on him. Alright, I need a drink. Make it 2. Alright, we also got lots of turtles around, spewing petrification gas from the statues on their back. But we really don't need to worry about those too much. They're more trouble than they're worth. I'm just going to make a quick pass around here for treasure, make sure there's nothing to grab that I don't want to miss. I don't believe that to be the case, but I like to be thorough. Oh, this turtle is legitimately in the way, so I'm going to kill it. Anything good here? Doesn't appear that way. Let's go ahead and descend one more time. I don't think I really care about that turtle. Up here, on the other hand, we have another poison aura gentleman. Let's see if we can kill him off before we get poisoned. And indeed we can. Capital. We also have an enemy here that we have not seen since the Black Gulch. That being a Razorback Nightcrawler, but they're every bit as easy as they ever were. Having a non-AI assist here is definitely helping me out. I want to say there is some worthy treasure around here somewhere before we actually do the boss fog, but I'm not sure where it is. Maybe this is the place. Nope, just alluring skulls there, and a statue trap that spits out poison gas at us. I could have sworn there were like some upgrade items or something somewhere around here. I definitely get the feeling I'm missing something. But perhaps not. Memory may be deceiving, or it could also be that I left it on an upper floor. Nope, not seeing any goods here. Alright, let's go ahead and head back to the fog gate where the bosses are. Get ourselves ready. Heal up the NPCs. They haven't lost much health, but we want them as solid as they can get. Alright, and now it is time to introduce ourselves to the Gank Squad. A trio of 3 very beefy and well-armed NPCs, Afflicted Grave Robber, Ancient Soldier Varg, and Sarah the Old Explorer. Ancient Soldier Varg is just straight-up Havel. The Afflicted Grave Robber dual wields a pair of katanas, and Sarah the Old Explorer likes to hang back and plink at you with a great bow. Sarah is by far the most fragile of the lot, and you don't want him plinking away at you with that great bow while you're trying to fight the others. So Sarah is pretty much your optimal #1 target, until you get backstabbed, and that just ruins your whole plan of attack there. Oh dear. Well, folks, by the 3rd time's a charm rule, I would really like to make another attempt at that before we finally give it up. But before that, I want to go fix my rings and maybe spin on a level if we have the opportunity.
Hello. I'll be around.
That's sure not going to be enough for a level. Alright, nevertheless, we will give it one more try. And if that doesn't work out, I'm just going to call her quits. Let's see, where is the... here we go, Priestess's Chamber. And if this time doesn't work out, then we will just, we'll just proceed onward to the next DLC and get that started. Alright, Cave of the Dead. You don't like me, I don't like you. I'm going to go ahead and summon some assistance here. We'll see if maybe we can luck out and get a 3rd non-AI partner. Ooh. A summon sign. Oh, and it's Mork again. This is going to be a little embarrassing, but still, the help is appreciated. And if I don't get myself backstabbed this time, we might actually have a shot at this thing. It's going to give him a little shrug there, an apology, but he's already ready to rock. Come on, Mork, let's do it. Yep. Got a little careless there. Let's see, we got any more dudes here? No. We got any treasure? Also no. Onward. Hey, Poison Aura. You gotta die first. Ooh. Took a big chunk of poison build, or petrification build up there. And that's okay. We've still got much more available. Gotta watch the Poison Aura guy, though. I can do it. Whoa, Andre got his ass kicked. Well, at least that shows he's capable of using Estus. Damn it. Hey. Dickhead. Now then, if I can do so without getting myself petrified, I would like to do a little more treasure checking this time. Something ahead. Hopefully a good something. As a matter of fact, a trio of petrified something. That's pretty good. Out of the way, guys. Where did Mork go? Ah, there he is. Alright, no more need to play around with turtles. Just gotta find the next pathway down, and we'll be ready to go. I've lost the hole. I keep getting shot. Where's the down? I've lost the down. Something dropped a twinkling titanite. I'm not unhappy about that. Ah, here's the way. Thank you, message. Okay, we're in decent condition. We're ready to continue. So let's continue. Alright, Poison Aura. You gotta get got. Beautiful. Okay, we'll get out of here, out of the way of the petrification turtles, and warm everybody up. Alright. Looks like everybody's just about ready for another crack at this. So let's do it. And let's not get backstabbed. As I was saying, Sarah the Old Explorer is the easiest of the lot to kill by a considerable margin. No, you don't, Hobble. And you really don't want her shooting at you from far away and taking off large chunks of health with great bow shots. Oh, everyone's after me. That's not a particularly good situation. Oh my god! That turned bad in a great hurry. I have to admit, dealing with a trifecta of very powerful NPCs is not my forte. So screw it. Sorry, Mork. I'm bailing out. Truth be told, aside from some nice upgrade materials, there's not a whole lot that you actually get for beating the Gank squad. All you really get that's unique is a flower skirt, which is some leg armor with some nice resistances, but it's not that great, and more importantly, in Fashion Souls terms, it doesn't go with anything.
I'll be around.
Something of interest that we did acquire, however, is a trio of somethings, and I would like to trade those. Oh, wow! We finally got the Channeler's Trident! I've been wondering if I would pick up one of those this playthrough. Yes, one of the Tridents carried by Seath's Channelers has apparently survived for all this time and has made its way to Drang Lake. Oh, we're getting all the rare weapons this time. And a twinkling titanite, which is always good to have another of. The channeler's trident, though. Where are my spears? Where are my spears? A trident wielded by an old sorcerer. The tip is sharpened so smoothly that it suggests a degree of madness. Haha, and yes, once again, we are blessed with the power of dance. And that can buff not only yourself, but nearby allies, at the cost of a little bit of your weapon durability. Unfortunately, it's not a great strength weapon. Most of its scaling is in dexterity. However, I might just crack that out when it's time to do boss fights, because having the self and allies buff could be perfectly valuable. And I really don't use the hammer on very many of them, now do I? Anyway, all of that silliness put aside, let us make our way to the next DLC. And in order to do that, we're going to have to make a trip back to the Old Iron Keep. Or rather, the Iron Keep, where once dwelt the Old Iron King. This game's tendency to put old in front of everything is just rubbing off on me. And if we go to the final bonfire before the Old Iron King fight, Eagle's Idol, then we won't have too far to go to get back to the Iron King's primal bonfire. And that'll put us where we need to be. You have to do away with an ironclad first, though. But we've done that many times before. Nothing new. A familiar place. A familiar bonfire chamber. And a familiar sort of sight beyond. Once again, we have all these informative little posters here. I think most of them say the same thing as the previous DLC, but we'll check them out. Forbidden is the path to the ancient king's domain. This one will be Water Dry and Path Amiss. This one I think will be Adversity. And this one I think will be Unique. In the Tower of the Old Iron King resides a child of dark. Looks like we're gonna have another of those fragments of madness to contend with. Well, these kings do tend to have their queens, and we've already seen one fallen king who had a wrathful queen at his side. Even if they weren't very fleshed out. So, once more into the breach. Or is it unto the breach? I don't recall. And this DLC does take some guts. It's a little more of a straight-up brawl than the other two. But that's part of what I like about it. In fact, this is probably my favorite of the 3 DLCs. Although the third one has the probably single coolest set piece in the Sunken Crowns, or the Lost Crowns trilogy, rather. This one, I think I like it best overall. How a bunch of people managed to die in here, I'm not sure, unless they all jumped down the elevator shaft, which would be remarkably silly and true. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to use the elevator properly. Because elevator safety is important, children. Especially when you're going to fucking Mordor. Well, we knew the Iron King was kind of a dick, but apparently he doesn't take the best care of his land either. Or didn't take the best care of his land, as the case may be, considering we know he is dead and gone. Everything's all burny and fiery and ashen. He's got some impressive technological achievements, though, even if they're of a fairly different character than the ones in Shulva. Wait a minute, that was a familiar-looking style of armor. That's a Drang Lake soldier, just like the ones we encountered many of in hollow form in the Forest of Fallen Giants. We got a mess of them. This one looks like he got split in half. Oh no, I was just looking at it wrong. Okay, he's intact. Still, they all got pretty well killed, it appears. Wonder what happened here. Defeat indeed. Well, we've got a bunch of dead Drang Lake soldiers, and we've got some sort of freaky 3, maybe 4-armed statue thing here. Yeah, it looks like 4. And it's got something for us to find. Smelter wedges. A half dozen. Well, what pray tell could those be? An iron wedge forged in this land destroys the Ashen Idol. The Ashen Idol is of great consequence to Nadalia, who, having renounced her flesh, entrusts her very being to it. So from this little tableau here, we can determine that all these Drang Lake dudes tried to bust their way in here, encountered this Ashen Idol, hammered in their smelter wedges and apparently destroyed the thing, but got themselves all killed in the process. And apparently the Ashen Idol is the remains of someone named Nadalia, who renounced her flesh. And we heard there was a child of dark in this land. Pieces begin to form a picture. And we're definitely going to need some bravery to climb this chain. And be wary of slipping off, because climbing this chain is exactly what we're going to have to do. It's a damn lucky thing it's a very heavy chain, and apparently somewhat rusted into place, because otherwise, you know, I wouldn't put it past FromSoft to have this thing sway as you try to climb it. I suppose gorgeous is subjective, but it's not without its charms. And welcome to the Brume Tower. Sitting in my mom's tower, broom broom. The Brume Tower is going to be the site of pretty much the entire Crown of the Old Iron King DLC. And a broom, if I recall correctly, with that spelling, not the sweeping implement. That is, I believe that is a billow of smoke, which is entirely appropriate for the surroundings. Lots of machinery around here, none of it appears to be in order at the moment, so I guess we will just proceed on our way forward. Got in Himmel! Friends, I think we have found another Ashen Idol, and I don't think it likes us very much. Yeah, with all those columns of black fire erupting from the ground, I think I can probably see how the Drangleic Knights might have run into a little bit of trouble here. I think I'm going to wait for the next burst to go up, and then we'll do what we gotta do. Ravi Shankar! Well, I'm not sure why the Drangleic Knights saw fit to drive 6 of them into the first Ashen Idol. It seems that 1 will do the trick. But, we just picked up, apparently, a boss soul. Are we already done here? Nah, it couldn't be that easy. And indeed it is not. Let's take a quick look at that. Ah, just a small fragment of a soul. Soul of Nadalia, bride of Ash, who renounced her flesh and wandered Brume Tower. When Nadalia came to this land, the king she sought was no longer there. Dispirited, she forsook her own soul and clung to the heirlooms of the old king. This is only a fragment of a soul and cannot be used in this state. Alright, so that gives us a little bit of a scenario setter here. Nadalia came here seeking the Old Iron King, but by the time she arrived in the kingdom, Old Iron had already gotten his full ass killed by the Smelter Demon. And so, Nadalia apparently didn't take that too well. Her guy was no longer around. There was no king to join in queenship with. And, well, that just kind of screwed up her whole plan. So she renounced her body and put it into the various ashen idols surrounding Brume Tower. I don't remember which is actually the right way to go here. And you may have heard some whispers as we approached the Nadalia idol there. Ah, this was the right way to go because there's treasure. A dexterity ring. We'll look at that in a moment. But yes, as I approached and as I destroyed the idol, we heard some of Nadalia's whispers. They are not subtitled and they're very difficult to make out, especially with other sounds going on around you. Hell of a place for a throne. But there are people who have isolated the audio to the best of their ability, made it so that you can hear Nadalia's whispers. And so I'll try and clarify some of those as we go along.
Let me surround you. Let me surround you. Please, do.
Early on, she likes to whisper about, wondering where you were, and it not really mattering as long as you've arrived. So, apparently she thinks we must be the Old Iron King, here to free her from her solitude at last. Perhaps the whole renouncing of flesh process and splitting herself into ashen idols has done a little bit of a number on old Nadalia's brain meats. Let's see, where is that dexterity ring? There we are. An oddly deformed iron ring increases the dexterity of its wearer. The Old Iron King ruled over a great age of iron. The king's power allowed him to mold iron freely, as if he held sway over the forces of life and creation. And of course that just raises your dexterity a few points. Very straightforward stuff. We would prefer not to fall to our deaths here, so we will use the iron crates here. And down we go. Just ahead? Nah, not really. Not the kind we can open anyway, more's the pity. I hear whispers. Must be a Nadalia somewhere in the vicinity. But that's not our problem right now. Listen carefully, we can hear her whispering. Ah, and here's the first of our mooks for the area. These ironclad hollows are going to be our common mooks for the area, and I find them easier to deal with than the Sanctum soldiers. They seem to be a little more fragile, and they don't have the monstrous poise. They do have those big jumping attacks which can be dangerous, and they do hit pretty hard. But we can handle them. Another thing we also see around here for the first time is some of these ashen figures buried in the ashy floor. Some unfortunate folks who tried to make their way through Brume Tower, I assume. If we approach, they will be crumbled, and sometimes they have items in them, so that is worth doing. Like so. And not a bad consumable either. Lots of bloodstains here, which means there are probably going to be dangerous things ahead. And indeed, we are introduced to another thing we'll be seeing lots of, which is these ashen soldiers rising from the ash. And you see we've got a few different types of them here. The dual-wielding axemen, and the sword-wielding ones. Caught a hit there and didn't even take too much damage for it, so yeah, I definitely think these guys are more manageable on the average than your, oh, hi there. Oh, that went wrong. So I was saying they're more manageable on the average than your Sanctum soldiers. No poison capabilities either. Although they seem to be a little more handy with the whole ambush thing than the Sanctum soldiers ever were. Crumble some more incinerated bodies, see if any of them have anything to give to us. Not so. So on we go. Circling around. Yep. Oh, what do we got down there? Oh, that is a possessed armor. That is another type of enemy new to this DLC that we will be encountering our fair share of, but just a little preview of one for now. Circling around, excellent advice, because we get a little bit of blackweed balm. Try rolling, fatty. No, I think I'll pass. And we get an upgraded scythe for some reason, not entirely sure why. I don't think I can safely circle around here, so I don't intend to try. You know, I could jump down there, and I may in fact have to, but I'm going to see what there is to do in here first of all. Big old stack of prism stones. And a chest, and a path downward. Oh, free slab, right out in the open. No complaints about... Oh, okay. I see what's down there. There's another Nadalia down there. And that is definitely progress. So I'm going to try the jumping down spot first, see if maybe there's any exciting treasure for me there. And we can fight our first possessed armor while we're at it. Okay, nothing else around here. Oh, how'd he hit me? Possessed armors like to float around. They have a flaming sword. And they have a great bow in their offhand, which they can actually detach from their body and move independently to a degree. So, something to be wary of. Now, the idea behind the possessed armors is they wanted to have an enemy here that had a unique way of moving, so it was hard to predict for your dodges and your parries. So they do some of these wacky sideways things, and that little breakdancer eyes. And a killing blow. Alright, there's my soul pile. Let's go and see if we can get that recovered and do a little better this time at dealing with the possessed armor there. Should be a little better off now that I'm not trying to show off its moveset. Maybe. Okay, that is a definite improvement. What have we got down there? Oh, just another regular dude. That's okay. Is this the same place? Ah, this is the same place. Okay. So that's another way we could get down there. Just drop down and be done with it. Okay, and now that we've dropped down here, I think that's what we have to do. We can also go down from here, I think. Now, Nadalia and her various Ashen Idol incarnations are part of what makes this my favorite area. I just think she's a really cool concept, both mechanically and story-wise. A child of dark would-be queen who didn't make it here in time to actually meet her king. Also, the Nadalia idols have various powers. We've already seen the one with the big, explosive fire pillars. Oh wait, is there something else back here that I can find? Let's check it out. Ah, a chest. As I was saying, there's the fire pillars that attack you in a fairly direct way. The one below us is one that has a different power, that being the power to give a major defensive buff to all the enemies around her. We're not going to want to try and carve through the iron soldiers around here before taking care of Nadalia, so she's going to be our #1 target. We have some invincibility frames as we drive the smelter wedge into her, and so as long as we get that off, we should be in good shape. They won't be able to hurt us while we're taking care of business. Oh, shit. Of course, the invincibility frames don't start immediately, so you do have to at least get your wedging started. And I think we'll have enough time now. Yes, very good. They all get stunned a little bit as their buff disappears. And Nadalia's don't respawn, so we will never have to worry about that particular one again. Now then, that's quite enough of you, gentlemen. One down, 2 to go. Another chunk of soul for our collection. Man, that's got range. Don't know if we're going to have time to make it to the next bonfire, but I'll see what I can do. Oh, should have expected that ambush. Just one guy in a room was a little too easy. A little too good to be true. I really walked into that. Oh, guys, it's all gone wrong. Trying to get back here and get things rolling again, I lost my soul pile and I died 3 times in this room, just to those 3 iron guys. I need to show them a little more respect. Look at how hollowed I am. My max health up there, how depleted that is. Ugh. Well, one bit of good news is that on the way here I did pick up a possessed iron greatbow. Or a possessed armor greatbow, rather, so we can at least take a quick look at that. Crafted with multiple layers of iron, resulting in almost excessive sturdiness. These suits of armor were once decorations until the black fog ruling the tower seized control of them. Well, I think we can guess who was behind that black fog. Okay, so hopefully this time we'll finally do it. At this point, I'm not really sure how long this episode has been going on camera, so this one may run a little extra long, but I'll just try and find us a good leaving off point and we'll make the best of it. Whew. You got several of these guys coming at you at once. They can do quite a bit of stability damage to your blocking attempts. You do have to worry a little bit about that running lunge that the sword guys like to do. That makes them dangerous in a way that the axe guys are not quite as much so. Oh my god, did I activate a 4th? I totally did activate a 4th of them. This is probably not going to end well for me, but we'll try. We'll try, friends. Fighting 4 of anything, never good. Yep, that's about what I expected. Alright, that is the 4th guy who I activated before. This time, I'm just gonna murder him from above. Try surprising me in a fight with the other 3 now. There we go, we take care of the possessed armor here. Now let's get this shit show on the road. Still got 3 to deal with here, but at least we know it's only going to be 3 this time. Okay, solid hit on 2 of them, that's good. Solid hit on 2 of them for the death, even better. Out of stamina, but this one is almost gone. It seems almost easy when it goes somewhat according to plan. Now let's see if we can do this part over here without getting caught by the ambush this time. Oh, nice one shot. Nearly got me killed. I remember you this time. Well, we got a new pyromancy at least, that's something. Not worth all the trouble I've had here, but what would be? Pyromancy created by the Magus Egil, loyal follower of the old Iron King. Cast flame in a sweeping motion across a targeted area. The fire seems to dance and makes its victims dance with it. I've never found this particular pyromancy very useful. It makes a wall of fire kind of go across your path in front of you. It's very hard to aim. I suppose it could be confusing in PvP, but not my style. There will, however, be another attack pyromancy later in the DLC that is much, much nicer. For now, though, I'm just hoping I can find my way to a bonfire somewhere, so that we have a decent place to leave off with this episode. Try weapon. Okay, I'm gonna take a pass on that direction for starters. We're gonna head over this way first, see what we can find over here. It sure is a trio. Well, praise the something anyway. Yep, kinda expected that. God almighty. Come on, guys, give me a healing opportunity here. Alright, folks, with that one, I think I've about hit the wall for tonight. I've clearly gotten to a point where I'm just not playing well, and we've got to have an hour's worth of material by now, right? Even if this one kinda went off the rails toward the end, I suppose we made a decent amount of headway. Finished up with Shulva, had a look at the Cave of the Dead, got started in Brume Tower, and met Nadalia, Bride of Ash, who's really one of my favorite characters in all of Dark Souls 2, even if we never meet her in any conventional way. Well then, I hope you've enjoyed today's adventures and misadventures, and I hope you'll join me next time for more of Brume Tower and more hot Nadalia staking action. Till then, thank you for watching, and this is signing off. We at I Played a Thing are on fire with gratitude toward our ever-wonderful patrons such as Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Johnny Millennium, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Craig Patterson, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Darren Chow, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, Argyle Jelly, Mechazaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, and August Fortnite. Thanks as well to all other patrons and all commenters, subscribers, and watchers. You keep that fire lit under my ass, and that is always appreciated. Have an excellent weekend, and I'll see you real soon.